When a video game franchise gets bigger, it's almost always a really good thing. More people buying the games means we're more likely to get another one, we're more likely to have the next one be even higher quality, and of course, there are many more people to talk about it with. But as a smart man once said, for each and every action, there are 15 more people who hate Fire Emblem just because of Smash. Obviously, with the sheer number of different series Nintendo has, it's almost impossible that everyone will like them all, but poor FE over here truly stands alone in how hated it seems to be by people who don't even play it, or have never even played it. Yeah, it's built up a weirdly large number of Smash fighters over the years, but how is that Fire Emblem's fault? 8 characters? What the f***? Marth? And it's funny, because it's already not a series I would expect a ton of people to like, what with how long it had mandatory permadeath and just existed as a tactical RPG, but that's not good enough, so people have to take it even further and just hate it for no reason. What I need to do is find a way to show people just how great Fire Emblem is without actually making them play the games.
Let them go!
Let them all go? But Mars!
There's no...
But instead I have this. Fire Emblem, no subtitle, is an anime adaptation of Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem, which is a half remake of, half sequel to, the original Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, for the Famicom and Switch, because God forbid anything in this franchise be easy to explain. It was produced by 2 studios, Fantasia and KSS. We'll have to give a solid rest in peace to each of them though, as at this point they've both filed for bankruptcy. But KSS kinda still lives on to this day, as they were the founders of the still operating production company Pink Pineapple. They make porn. The goal of the series was obviously to bring more attention to the franchise and to tell the story of Fire Emblem 3 so that it could be experienced by people who didn't want to play the games, and honestly, Fire Emblem is maybe one of the only Nintendo series I could see this working for. If you ask someone on the street what their favorite Fire Emblem character is, you'd probably get, does Yoshi count? But many people consider the story and characters to be the best part of the series, so if they did them justice, it might actually work. I wonder if they did that. I suppose there's only one way to find out. So let's do this. This is Fire Emblem. We open up with Marth, his sister Elise, and one of his knights, Jagen, running from and being cornered by a bunch of violent axemen. Also, right off the bat, everyone in this show calls him Mars. In fact, there's a lot of names that are slightly f***y like that, so for simplicity's sake, I'll just be referring to everyone and everything by their modern names. Anyway, since they have no escape, Elise gives Marth her tiara and uses a spell to teleport him and Jagen away. And we're given no context about what even just happened before jumping straight into the opening, which is easily the biggest disappointment of the show. It's an entirely narrated opening with pretty much no song, a trait it weirdly shares with at least one of Nintendo's other shows, but this time it's not even something fun for me to memorize, it's just bucket loads of exposition with nonsense words. This doesn't feel like an opening, it feels like a lecture. I'm sitting here like, is this gonna be on the test? But once it's done, we jump 2 years into the future, and Marth is hanging out with his friend Sheeta, the princess of the Island Kingdom Talus, where he's currently hiding out. Also, as a true sweaty Fire Emblem fan, it bothers me heavily how vaguely she resembles the Sheeta that I know, while strikingly resembling Erika from the Sacred Stones. Regardless, it's at this point that after watching them go through a cliche "look how in love we are" montage, we finally understand what happened. Basically, 2 big bad men, Garnif and Medius, took the forces of the Empire called Dolar, and used them to rise up and begin to take over the world. When Marth's kingdom, Altea, went to war with these assholes, they were betrayed by another called Gra, which completely destroyed any chance they had of winning. Marth's father, the king of Altea, then went on to challenge Garnef anyway, and it went about as well as you'd expect. This is it, Garnif. Today, in the name of Altea, you'll meet your end.
Oh, but you forget, King Cornelius. You're a father figure in a Fire Emblem story.
That may be true, however. Without King Cornelius to lead, now Marth is in charge, and when a soldier arrives to tell him that a nearby city is under attack by a band of pirates, he decides it's time to fight. And when they show up, they don't waste time dismantling these fools. They have no mercy in this fight. They're just slaughtering these people. Oh my god, Jagen, calm down! Cain sees a man kidnapping a child, so he impales him with his spear, uses the spear he's impaled on to flip them both into the air, and then Abel catches the mid-air child. It's at this point that I am all in on this show because that was maybe the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I think everything from this point on will kinda be a letdown by comparison. If I ever have a child, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, you're pretty cool, but you're no Christmas Cav impaling flip combo. Soon after that, Marth and Sheeta spot the king being roughed up by the leader of the pirates, Gazik, and each go to stop him. Unfortunately, Sheeta fails to be of much help and is captured herself. Forcing Marth to drop his sword at the threat of Sheeta's death, the pirate clearly has the upper hand here. I mean, there's just no way he could lose now. Unless, of course, Sheeta bites his arm and Marth, the madman he is, just tackles him straight off the side of the building. Holy shit. They both land on a ledge not too far down and begin a treacherous fight, which Marth actually loses. But just before the two heroes can be cut down, Sheeta's bodyguard Ogma shows up with his band of mercenaries and sends Gazik tumbling to his death, where he lands with all the force of your phone being set on a wireless charger. Though they've won the day, they've also now revealed their location, meaning they can't stay. So Marth decides that his crew, the Altean Knights, will sail to the main continent of Arcanea to begin the fight to take back the world from evil. And after receiving a brief pep talk from her father, Sheeta decides that she'll come along too. And so ends episode 1. To review this episode, I would say it reminded me a lot of my autobiography, because it was pretty slow to get going. But once the pirates showed up, it was pretty good. And after that one episode, we've made it through about, get this, 1 chapter. But Mystery of the Emblem has like 24 chapters, so we got time for like 1 more. Episode 2 begins with a man we haven't seen yet, a dual-wielding mercenary known as Navarre. Almost immediately, he's surrounded by goons, and he quickly dispatches them all, which catches the attention of a group of bandits that were spying on him, led by a man who goes by the name Hyman. And now I'm having flashbacks to the porn. He offers for Navarre to join him, and despite originally declining, seeing that they've captured a priestess named Lena causes him to have a change of heart, and so he tags along with them. While all of this is happening, the knights show up in a nearby village to rid it of some ruffians and free the villagers, who then ask them to go save Lena, which they of course agree to do. Returning to Navarre, we find him taking a nap at the lead bandit's hideout, and he seems to be having one hell of a nightmare. He watches helplessly as some lady gets diced and then scores a clutch crit on his bedsheets.
No!
God, I hope that thing doesn't trigger ambush spawns. Because our cast is just not big enough yet, we're also introduced to Julian in this episode, a bandit who secretly sneaks food out to Lena and plans to help her escape. When he brings her some bread, she says, "No, I can't eat food that was stolen because God." But Julian says, "Nah, you should just eat it anyway." And she's like, "Oh, okay, alright." So either God is super lenient, or she's just pretending to be into all this religion shit because she wants the cool magic powers. When the two of them try to escape, they're immediately caught and surrounded by more of the bandits, but Navarre shows up and takes them all out so they can keep running. We fade to black, and then we fade back in on Julian hobbling along on the brink of death before running across the boys. Apparently, more of them showed up as soon as Navarre left and captured Lena, but Julian barely managed to get away. All off screen. Okay, well, either way, they're already on their way to save Lena, so they pick the boy up and bring him along, falling right into the bandits' traps and kicking off one hell of a battle. Amidst the chaos, this fat bastard who I legitimately cannot even find the name of, pretty sure he's just called Slave Trader, tries to escape with Lena. He kinda bought her a couple scenes ago, but I really didn't think it was worth mentioning because he just gets popped by Navarre here anyway. Despite being thankful to the swordsman for saving her, she gets a little angry at him for killing so nonchalantly, but he says he's so far morally gone that not even your god could save him now, because he's a certified badass, and she sort of just accepts that statement at face value and moves on. Alright, regardless, now our whole crew has met up with the exception of Ogma, who's taken on the boss. Navarre returns and steps in to fight in his place, and I don't really know why. I mean, he's already betrayed the guy multiple times. The two seem pretty evenly matched, but Sheeta decides that she needs to do something this episode, so she jumps in the way and is apparently just as confused as me, because she asks my exact question. Why are you still fighting alongside the bandits? All we get out of him is a solid, I don't know, I just feel like it. So she says that continuing to fight Ogma is meaningless, whereas their fight is much more meaningful, and that's apparently all it takes to convince him to join their team. Now learning that he's been betrayed, we get one last assault on Navarre, which gets the walking sex ed lesson into a shallow grave.
Why?
You just ran at me with a f***ing axe, dude. Hey Marth, you wanna say something, buddy? Are the lights on in there? Are you even breathing? I think we lost him, folks. Our newly expanded crew arrive at Aurelis and stare out across the countryside as we're told that their actions have inspired hope across Arcanea, and that there will be many tough battles to come. Yeah. Can't wait for that. Well, as we stand at the precipice of episode 2 and about chapter 3 in the games, it's probably a good time to mention that there are only 2 episodes of this series? You see, while I've been referring to it as the Fire Emblem anime for simplicity's sake, what it's actually more known as is the Fire Emblem OVA, or original video animation. Basically, this was likely never meant to be a series, and instead kinda just a glorified ad for the game. And I did not expect to be saying this, but as someone who's now watched the whole thing, I think that's a shame. Wait, you're telling me that I like a Nintendo product that's not considered good because it's a Nintendo product nonetheless? Someone sound the no shit alarm. For real though, I don't want to say that I was surprised at how good this show was, but I will definitely say that I'm surprised at how not terrible it was. I mean, sure, the voice actors for Cornelius, Gordon, Kane, they're all doing pretty damn bad jobs, but most of the rest of the characters are legitimately good voice actors doing a fine job. Jagen shares a voice with Hohenheim, same with Marth and Shinji. In fact, there's quite a lot of the original Evangelion cast here. Like, a lot of them. A lot! And if you flip over to the Japanese audio, you've got Hikaru Midorikawa voicing Marth for the first time ever, which he would continue to do in everything Marth is in to this very day, as well as Navarre sharing his voice with my man Dio! Also, this show has legitimately hilarious moments in it, both ironically and not, but most of them were added by the English dub, so if you find those annoying and want to take it a little more seriously, the subtitled Japanese version has got you covered. Just be warned that you'll be missing out on gold like this.
At any moment, our ally Gra will begin attacking the enemy's left flank.
The forces from Gra have turned and attacked us from behind!
What? Are you sure, man? Prepare to die!
Woohoo!
I hate leaky boats. I hate boats. I hate these horses on these boats.
Even if I do enjoy the other Nintendo animations, I can't really defend them as good shows, and I still have to grit my teeth to get through them from time to time. But I wouldn't say that's the case for this. I honestly think it's pretty reasonably alright, especially considering when it came out. Speaking of that release date though, let's talk about it. I'm sure we've all heard the story of Fire Emblem and Melee before, right? About how the franchise was basically stuck in Japan until Sakurai showed it to us for the first time. Well, I am simultaneously sorry and hysterically giddy to tell you that that story is not quite true, as the VHS with this show on it hit English shelves in 1997. 4 years before Melee. This was technically the first glimpse of Fire Emblem we ever got in North America. That fact puts the stupidest grin on my face. If there's anything I want to close with, I guess it's Nintendo. Please try this again someday. If something this decent was able to be done nearly 2.5 decades ago, then just imagine how amazing you could make it now. I do think there would be some problems with the full series, such as how much story they would need to cover and how massive the character cast is. I can't imagine it working super well without cutting some of the less important chapters out and focusing on only a handful of characters per episode, but you could just like do that, and it would probably turn out fine. This stupid VHS from the 20th century has awoken in me an itch I never knew was there, but now it needs to be scratched. Show me a full Fire Emblem anime, Nintendo. I'll be waiting. All in all, I'm glad I've finally experienced this very crazy piece of Nintendo history, and hey, I actually did figure out how to sell the series to a bigger audience. Just put Yoshi in the game!